In 1998, when we adopted our first greyhound, we had really no intention of doing much more than just having one dog. She was extremely timid and shy. And so naturally, the group we adopted her from recommended that we get a second. And he was really the one that changed our minds. He was 6 years old at the time and had been adopted once, and his adopter apparently turned him loose in the desert of Texas, where he was found emaciated and covered in ticks.
That doesn't work, Buck.
He came into our house just full of forgiveness and love and made a huge difference to our first greyhound. So we got involved with the group GPA of San Antonio and started by volunteering to foster some dogs that came when they had large quantities. Sometimes they'd get 10, 12 at a time. And we did that for a while. Then there came 2 dogs that were returned from El Paso, apparently because the adopter didn't feel as though they matched her new kitchen floors. So we got Julie and Topsy, and they were just wonderful dogs. We decided to keep them, and shortly thereafter there was a large group of dogs that was brought in, and we adopted Misty. At that time. So we then had 5, and Alonso, who had been afraid of dogs up until that time, fell in love with a little misfit known as Hannah, who was found in a cardboard box on the side of the road with her mother and Hannah and her siblings. She was I don't know what kind of mix, but just a funny looking dog and very, very, very loyal. So then we had 6. And that was about the time we decided that we wanted to do something more than just have dogs. And the business we were in at the time, janitorial, was an extremely difficult business to be in. So we began to shift, and we returned to our home in San Francisco and started a dog daycare. And boarding service, which was very successful, and we began to foster more and more dogs, and then inevitably encountered those dogs who didn't work out in adopted homes. Sometimes they had bitten, other times they had been placed 2 or 3 times, and it just didn't seem that they could find the right fit. One in particular that captured us was Kendall. We named him Ken Doll because he was extremely muscular, like a Ken doll. He was 1 year old at the time and had already been adopted out twice. Never raced because they determined he was too big, and he really was huge. But the second time he was adopted, the adopter was trying to teach him to go down steel steps in his loft condominium, and he pushed him, and he fell down the stairs and broke a toe, and later escaped and was found trapped underneath the wheel of a truck and had almost worn his paws off trying to escape. So we took him and then followed a series of other dogs with issues. The next one that was returned was Sasha. And it turned out that her adopter had been giving her the same medications that she herself took, which created a dog that was in a constant fog and aggressive. It took 90 days for her to be detoxed. Sasha, she also turned into just a wonderful dog. And she and Kendall, who coincidentally had been in the same home briefly, developed a very, very strong bond. So we got out of any other business we were doing and started GBARK, where we dedicated ourselves and our property to the permanent homes, a sanctuary for dogs that had difficulty in being placed or could no longer be placed due to behavioral issues such as biting. We relocated back to Indiana, where I grew up. Mainly because property prices are so much more reasonable here than in California. And we got a beautiful little piece of property in rural Greene County, which is about 20 miles west of Bloomington. And began to take care of dogs forever. We never intended for this property to be what it has become, which is kind of this mixed. As you can see, it's lots of woods that are fenced. We have a wild pond. Some trails. We have some fields. Everything is fenced. There's one yard that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the dogs. They can come and go as they please. We open these other parts as weather permits. If it's too wet, we won't open it, or if it's too snowy or too cold, we won't open it. And we learned that when the pond freezes in the winter, it's not a good thing to bring the dogs out. We had one time when one of our largest dogs actually fell through the ice, and I went in and pulled him out. So we didn't do that again. But over the years, we've had 500 dogs. It's going on 30 years now that we've been doing this. We currently have, I believe, 30. They get along well. They have their own routines. They live lives the way that they want to. We have beds throughout the house. A few life-size twin beds that are on top of crates that they love to get on. And just kind of enjoy life. We rely entirely on donations. There's Addie deciding to try to dig a hole, which sometimes can be hard. It takes about $125,000, $130,000 a year. To maintain the facility and feed them. And medical care, provided there's nothing really unusual that pops up in terms of medical care. So I'm constantly asking and begging for money, but people have been very generous, and we haven't gone under yet for lack of funds. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. GBARK and all the dogs. They seem happy. We're very happy. I can't imagine life without them now. There was a minister that I knew back in California who adopted greyhounds, and he said, which is kind of a common saying now, is they rescued us, which is true. Lives changed entirely. What's important in life changed, the goals in life changed, what it takes to be happy changed. So we're very pleased, and we hope the dogs are, and we hope you are too. Thanks for watching. Sydney!